From Wall Street to Main Street, this is LALATE.
It's a big early morning of early mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In today's recording, we go over the developing details of a deal. A deal will be reached, but the comments from Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders yesterday left people in a quandary. I'll explain the situation. Then, why are two governors' races impacting the recon? I'll explain what's going on. The price is right at 1.7 to 2 trillion, but is it right at 1.5 trillion? The breaking details on early. Then, programs in and programs out. We thought that was the only thing we had to really ask, but now we have to ask, are they in and at the wrong or right price? This became a big battleground yesterday, will become much the same today. Student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven. Whose debts are next? And then the big exciting details as COLA is being raised across the board. Then fifth stimulus is coming right behind that. And then a new feature featured on this channel is my commentary. It goes at the very end of this video, and yesterday I delivered commentary on Mornings LA about where I thought the recon negotiations should be, and within 2 hours, that is exactly what Bernie Sanders said to press. We'll be going over more about that in this recording, and also my latest commentary about what the recon should do today. I got all that and more because the toast is toasting, and the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. It's gonna be deliciousness. Just, the president invited Joe Manchin to breakfast in Delaware. They had bacon. You think you could have had some bacon for me? It all starts right now, and this is Early Mornings LA. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful morning across the board. It's beautiful weather here in Southern California. But is a deal happening? Well, we'll learn a little bit more today because the next 24 or 48 hours are critical. And the critical details are what I had told you would be happening. And that's what Chuck Schumer confirmed yesterday. But at what price point? 1.5? Not going to work. How about 2 trillion? We'll have the latest details of what's going on. Programs in, programs out. We thought that's where we're going. But now we have to focus on whether the programs are at the right price point. Then college students, non-college students, former college students, student loan debt could be forgiven. And that is deliciousness. More student loan debt being proposed. Which debt is it? And then the big COLA raise coming in just a few weeks. But get ready for fifth stimulus right behind that. I have all those details and more. As we go into a big day, direct from Santa Monica, it's a big early morning broadcast. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Meantime, we'll look for that member newsletter coming out tonight at 7 p.m. Let's go right into this recon. And let's go over what we'll be covering in this video. I'm going to be going over the recon, the provisions. Then after the commercial break, I'll be going over the breaking news of what happened between Joe Manchin, Bernie Sanders, myself, and the negotiators in the last 24 hours, 12 hours in some cases, 8 hours in other cases. And then we'll go over what's going to be happening today. But first, that recon. The recon was passed a subcommittee several weeks ago, and it will pay viewers a lot of money. It'll pay the average viewer of this channel who is single, married, with children, without children, seniors, young, all across the board, red, blue state, all of you will pay on average about $15,000. That is huge money. It's divided across 3 clusters of checks of programs. These are brand new programs. We've never seen these programs. They're brand new established programs. Weren't around in first, second, and third stimulus, never around in all the hundreds of years of this country. So what are the programs? Let's go over the fate of each of them, starting with the first of 3 clusters and then those 3 add-ons. So hazard pay and elder care. We do not know about hazard pay if it survived. That is brought in the earned income tax credit, increasing the amount of money. Elder care, we think it survived because it sounds like something coming up later in this video that did survive. $4,000 a year. $4,000 a year to care for young children. Then the Pell Grant definitely survived. We have an update about that. Tax-free. And then the university, the money to them and to the college student. We know that the there is money that's surviving for the homes, so we believe that the home repairs in low-income communities may have survived as well. Then the exciting details about the CTC not happening at 18 years will happen at 1 year, $3,600 or $3,000 per child if that household makes $60,000 or less. Then they got money in there for bikes, cars, and trucks. We think it survived. 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike, $7,500 for a new electric car, personal use, a little bit more for business use. And there you go. That is the first cluster checks. The first add-on, of course, is that Maxine Waters $25,000 for the purchase price of a new home. Do I think that number is surviving? Absolutely not. They're not going to give anything for $25,000 per person in this recon, but maybe they're going to do another number. But the great news is that the other items that are related to it did survive. So maybe a part of this survived. What am I talking about? Maxine Waters' housing aid survived. And this is much like housing aid. It's like a part of it. So maybe some of it survived. We know that rent, mortgage assistance, utilities, home repairs survived in the negotiations. More about that price point later in this video. So that got in there. So maybe some of this first-time home buyer survived, but watered down. Then, there you go, home repairs. That certainly survived. But what's else in the second cluster? Let's go over the details. And I'm going to go over each of them one at a time. Family leave, medical leave survived, but totally different. I have a big update for this in the second half of this video. Stay to the final 15 minutes of this video. We have a lot coming up. Childcare programs and household tax credits believed to survive. Pre-kindergarten believed to survive. Tuition-free community college, we just don't know. It's either going to be out or it's going to be 2 years. And then money to weatherize your home definitely survived. That is among the provisions with Maxine Waters. So that one definitely survived. Then the add-on of $250 billion for home health care. Well, that number didn't survive, but the program survived, just less of it. This is huge. The president campaigned for the highest office in the land, the presidency, running on paid home health care. He got it in there. Bob Casey wanted this number, 250. It's not surviving. It's going to be maybe in the low 200s. This is free money for that will be given to the states so that they can provide you a free home health care provider license if you are on disability or a senior. Great details about that. Let's go now into the third clusters of checks. And this is where it really becomes a battleground. You're going to see a lot of checks being modified, and the details are very fluid. We're going to go over each of them starting right now. Here we go with the third cluster of checks. I'm going to go over each of them slowly and show you what's happening. Free school meals for all checks. Don't know. Cheaper prescription medication. Staying in there, but not solved. Bernie has a problem with the whole situation. Farmers, we don't know if it survived. Free internet, don't know if it survived. Clean energy, it's out. Workers, independent contractors, don't know. Medicare expansion survived, but not written right, so it's not finished. Dental, vision, hearing survived, but not solved yet. And lowering the eligibility age for Medicare believes to have survived as well. There you go. Which brings us then to the final add-on, which is that MSC. If you're going to see something very frequent in this recording today, you're going to see legislators battling. Nancy Pelosi calls it a fight. Legislators call it a red line. Legislators call it a battleground. Well, that should be your mindset when you're looking at these MSCs. If there was one video I could show you, it would be Bernie Sanders yesterday emerging from a Senate meeting and being met by reporters asking about dental, vision, and hearing potentially on the chopping block. Boy, you don't even need to hear the audio. Just look at the visual. His hands, his movements suggest he's ready to advocate and push. What was his first message? People don't have teeth. They need dental. That's what you need to do when you talk about MSC. You need to advocate. What's important to understand is that MSC can go in there, can come out, can go higher, can go lower. And it can go after we have agreement on the recon. Let's go over the details of this right now. So there's opportunities of where it could be added. First, it could be added on the House side to the negotiations, or it could be added after we have a House bill. AOC Omar, Jalapal, all said they would add it to the House bill after it's written, but before it's a vote. So not in the House bill, but before they do it by vote, basically an amendment. Then, of course, the big equation is the Senate vote-a-rama. It's the final 2 days of the entire process. The senators step to the beat of their own drum. What do? During that 2-day vote-a-rama, they propose amendments or changes, new stuff, totally new stuff the House members didn't even talk about it. And yesterday, Ron Wyden talked about a brand new provision again, second new provision from Ron Wyden in 1 week. Where's he going to add it? Vote-a-rama. Who's in charge of the vote-a-rama? Chuck Schumer. Who determines when things are called for a vote? Chuck Schumer. Who said to Donnie's wife and Donnie and to Debbie Applegate and another viewer in the last 2 weeks, he's inserting a monthly stimulus check provision? Chuck Schumer. Who do you need to advocate for that MSC inclusion? Chuck Schumer. And who's in charge of the clothing options at the vote-a-rama? Mitch McConnell. Got to give him something. Don't give him the filibuster. Give him bell-bottom jeans or saggy jeans. That's his decision to make. And there you go. That is why it's so important. Now let's go to that big message, which is so important and so on point as we look at what's going on for the new day. What's going on is the message to get that recon the right way. 3 million calls being made by LA viewers, but you cannot stop yet. They have in total, let's read what the message is and says from the chief of staff of the number one senator for the recon. They now have in total between congressional senator offices received more advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures on the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories. They now have a better understanding of what average Americans are going through because of ULA. They have heartbreaking stories from the LA viewers, and now they are the voice of the people across the nation in ULA as you have become too loud to be ignored. Very, very kind. The next sentence, let's read on air together. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice you have become, LA, and push until this becomes law. Very, very kind. So as I say, need to advocate. In the afternoon's 1 o'clock show yesterday, I think it was Jennifer who said, asked the people in the live chat, how many people did you call today? I love that. Very, very blunt. Absolutely. Donnie, who you've seen on this channel a lot over the last 2-3 months, he advocated and his wife advocated this week, but he said in private message to me, you need to tell the viewers, please don't advocate. Absolutely. Anyone that ever jumps into a live chat in the next 24 hours that says, what date are they sending it out? Can I pencil it into my calendar? And can you tell me whether it's coming by direct deposit or by paper check? Tell that viewer, have you picked up the phone and advocated today? Because you got to advocate. You're going to see later in this video why advocating is so important, because that's all these people are doing. 15, you heard me right, 15 lobbyists on the floor of the Senate trying to keep the prescription medication reform out. Lobbying, advocating. Bernie Sanders advocating to get it in there. Kristen Sinema trying to advocate to take it out. Other people confused what it is. I was confused. I said it got in there at Medicare Part B. They got it in there. Not enough, I did not know. Bernie Sanders says that's not enough. That's why it's important to pick up the phone and advocate. In the second half of this video, we have so much coming up. Boy, Bernie Sanders reacts to the news of what Joe Manchin said. Let's go over the details of what's coming up. Joe Manchin appeared before the Economic Club of D.C. on Monday for breakfast and spoke about what happened with him and Joe Biden over Sunday's negotiations. Then Bernie and Ron Wyden reacts to the news, and also Hirono from Hawaii. Then programs in and programs out. We thought that was the only question. No, there's a new question today. Programs in, but at the wrong amount? Yeah, we'll explain why. Student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. That's coming up in the second half of this video. And then the COLA raises. Get ready for a COLA raise, but also get ready for fifth stimulus is right behind that. We got a lot coming up in the second half of this video. Boy, it is a jam-packed video with breaking news, totally brand new today. 80% of this video is all brand new. Stay with me as Mornings LA continues. Early Mornings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as a big early mornings LA continues. Boy, we got a big recording today as a deal could be happening, but the next 24 hours is critical. I'll explain to you why. Then, why are two governors' races important for the recon? Very strange. The breaking details on early. Then, the price is right at 1.7 to 2 trillion. Where did 1.5 come to the equation? I have the latest on that. Programs in and programs out. We thought that was the only question we'd ask. Now we have to ask, is the program at the wrong amount? Then, student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. That's heating up. And then, the exciting details of this stimulus coming around the corner. And boy, this is the money you wanted. It will come right after that COLA raise. Those details and more as we go into the second half of this jaw-dropping major broadcast of Early Mornings LA, and it starts right now. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record and 140 million views in a year and a half. I want you part of this family. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into the equation right now. And it started with me, Bernie, and also Joe Manchin. What really happened here? It's very peculiar. But on Monday morning, Joe Manchin appeared before the Economic Council of D.C., sort of like a Rotary Club sort of breakfast, and spoke a lot about the recon. I then went on air, and I had a commentary at the end of the Morning's LA video yesterday where I said, you know what? The number one thing you have to deal with right now is the Medicare expansion, which is also the dental, vision, hearing, and the lowering of Medicare eligibility age. You need to do this right now. This is where Joe Manchin and everyone agrees on doing this, but no one can figure out how to get it done. Not that because they can't agree upon it, that it's just very complicated. You need to get it done. And guess what happened 1 hour after I said that? Bernie Sanders peaks to press, very agitated, saying, don't go near it, and you better get it right, and you're not doing enough. Wow. It was like this, me, then Bernie. It was exactly that sort of path. So let's recreate what happened and understand why the situation today, where they have still not yet solved it, is critical. Chuck Schumer said the next 48 hours are critical, but it's really this provision in the next 24 hours are critical. So Joe Manchin appeared before the Economic Club of Washington, D.C. yesterday for breakfast. They had bacon, and they did not invite me. And he talked about a lot of stuff. One of the things he talked about was this issue about Medicare expansion. This is a Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders campaign promise. Joe Manchin wants it, but he has a problem with it. Joe Manchin is very big on language and making sure everything is perfect, which is good. I mean, he's a perfectionist. He said, the problem is that I like it, I want it, but the way it's written, the states that are Democrat would pay for it in the states that are Republican, meaning that it would be offered in every state to every citizen of the United States, but the governors who are Republican won't have to pay for it because they'll vow not to pay for it. And then the citizens of West Virginia will be paying the benefits for people in Texas. Sound fair? Not fair. So he says you need to figure it out. That was the first part of the conversation. The second part of the conversation was critical. He basically described what went on between him and the president during that Sunday meeting in Delaware. The president invited Joe Manchin to Delaware to negotiate the recon. On Monday morning, the number one broadcast channel in America, that one, the one of the animal, said that there was a deal reached and it's 1.7. I said, what? What deal? There was no deal reached. It wasn't 1.7. Joe Manchin now reveals, of course, there was no deal, but also that the president really got nowhere during the negotiations. What did happen during the negotiations, the president realized He has a lot of staffers, the president in the White House, who have no idea how to write this stuff to law. Oh boy. Okay, so let's go over what's happening. This is the IRS bank reporting scheme. What is this? The recon is paid for by two provisions: corporate tax rate raised and tax on billionaires. One viewer said, "Are my taxes going to go up?" I said, "Unless you make $400,000, you're good." Oh, okay, good. So this is for billionaires. This is not even for $400,000. IRS bank reporting scheme. What is this IRS bank reporting scheme? This is a backup. Why? The president wants corporate tax and rich person's taxes. Joe Manchin wants it as well. So who doesn't want it? Chris and Sinema. So why was the president even talking about the Chris and Sinema provision? Because Joe Manchin raised it to the president and said, "You know what, Mr. President, you want to do this IRS bank reporting scheme? It doesn't work." Let me explain to you what Joe Manchin said during the Economic Council breakfast. I said to the president, "Do you understand how messed up it is to think that Uncle Sam is going to be washing your deposits into the bank?" I told him, "This cannot happen. This is screwed up." Manchin says that all the staffers that were having bacon with the president, Joe Manchin, looked at each other and said, "Who in the hell did this one? Who wrote this crazy provision?" Manchin said President Biden looked at Joe Manchin and said, "I think Joe is right on this one. I think this provision needs to be gone." It shows you that the president with a full staff of people cannot figure out how to write something so important as that Joe Manchin picks up on it. If this sounds any more crazy, let me bring up what it is right now so I don't miss it. Oh, I know where I want to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up right here. Here's Ron Wyden. Ron Wyden reacted to the comments from Joe Manchin earlier yesterday with a comment midday yesterday saying, "I don't care what Joe Manchin says. I'm going to get it in there." But here's the problem with Ron Wyden's comments. They got a lot of problems, these people. Ron Wyden, Democrat, Oregon, says we're going to have a strong provision that ensures real enforcement. We got a lot of wealthy tax cheaters. But the problem is that the Democrats originally were proposing that if you put $600 into the bank for anything, the bank has to report that to the IRS. What? So you deposit the second stimulus check of $600 in December 2020, $600, and you made $15,000 annual salary. That's reported. Why? You're not a billionaire. You got a $600 stimulus check. Doesn't make sense. So the Democrats have now raised it $10,000. That's still not a lot. That doesn't make any sense across the board. All right, as if that sounded strange, let's continue. Then Joe Manchin said one thing during the breakfast and then said a totally different thing a minute later. Joe Manchin said he turned to the president and said, "You know what? Your philosophy of politics and government is different than me. My philosophy is government should be my partner, not my provider." Did he say that? He said that. But then listen, he said just 10 minutes later, "Jalapal and I agree that we need to take care of everybody." Wait a second. You just said you want to provide for anyone. Now you want to take care of everybody? Yeah, it's after the extra shot of espresso kicked in. There was a lot of shadiness. He said, "Jalapal and I never met before. I never knew her. She didn't know me." I explained, Pramila, you represent Silicon Valley. I represent people who are struggling. So we have two different points of views. Yeah. So explain why Jalapal wants to give more money to the American people when she represents Silicon Valley and you represent fossil fuel providers who don't want to give as much money. That doesn't make any sense, that comment. Then came Schumer, who said that we're going to get this done. It's all within reach. Only problem is Chuck Schumer's arms are shorter than mine. I can reach the recon finish line right now, Chuck, but I don't know about you. Let's go to the reaction that came in and then Bernie. Let's start with Bernie. Bernie heard Joe Manchin's comments. Maybe he heard me because I reacted to Joe Manchin's comments first. I said, Joe Manchin makes a big point. The Medicare needs to be fixed. Language written up needs to be fixed. You don't fix that provision of the recon, we don't get out from 98% done to 100% done. That final 2% is dependent upon this Medicare provision being fixed on. What did I say? That's what I said. What did Bernie Sanders say 1 hour after I said that? They got to get to this. Here's what Bernie Sanders said in a very agitated interview with press in the halls of the Senate. The number one thing on people's minds is being ripped off by pharmaceutical companies, paying 10% more than other countries for pharmaceuticals. And Big Pharma having 15 paid lobbyists in the halls of the Senate right now to make sure we don't know how much they cost them to make pharmaceutical prescription medication, and to prevent us from making a formula to figure out how to put this in the recon. Any bill must have Medicare negotiations to lower the prescription price. So this is an example of what's coming up later in this video, which is that in there is not necessarily the whole equation anymore. Program in, program out. The other part of the equation is the provision written the right way? Then Bernie also said the second provision is Americans look at the wealthiest country on the planet, this country, and then people have no teeth. They have no teeth in their mouth. They have nothing in their ear. They cannot hear and they cannot see. The recon must take care of these serious medical issues right now. When asked whether that was a line in the sand, a red line, he would not answer. Of course it's a red line. The press secretary was asked about the president leaving town in the middle of the finish line of the negotiations. Her comments, she should be ashamed of herself. She said, their phones on Air Force One. And I heard there's phones in Europe. Yeah, no time to really making jokes about this type of stuff when people are trying to get this recon done to get people that have no teeth to have teeth. Yeah, he should be here and he should not be flying overseas to do climate. We all know that. And it just looks bad. And joking about telephones is not a situation that looks good for that teal monster. What was the reaction? The reaction yesterday is the recon's going to get done. But the next 24 hours is a battleground. Why is this interesting? Because yesterday, after I heard the Joe Manchin comments, I immediately went on air. I said, you know what? Here's my commentary. Whatever happened to Jalapal, who said a month ago, when asked, is 1.5 trillion a price you would do? She said, that's never going to happen. And when Bernie was asked a month ago, how about taking dental, vision, and hearing out? He said, that is non-negotiable. So I said on Morning's LALATE, I want to see if they stand up and really push back. Well, Bernie did. And Jalapal did. Jalapal said nobody should take the progressives' votes for granted. Yeah. She said the vast majority of our priorities in, but a few are not. Yeah. Steny Hoyer says, we don't like to act like if we don't act like we're winning, then people won't believe it either. Steny, a newsflash, you're not winning at the moment. You haven't gotten to the recon over the finish line. Bob Casey says it's frustrating. I love Bob Casey. He talks just normal. He says it's frustrating. We hope to get a big, robust investment out there. And Veronica Escobar says we're going to get a win. We're going to get this. I love the comment, though, from Liz Warren. She's so brilliant, and yet she's not part of the negotiations. Watch her verb tense. I just want to see a good deal. I want to, meaning she hasn't yet. Yeah, and she's not part of the negotiations either. But she's optimistic about the situation. I love the comment from Jim McGovern yesterday, who says, I support the roads and bridges, but we have to have an agreement on the recon first. Yes, there you go. And Mazie Hirono addressed a concern yesterday, which I don't think, if there was one thing that I didn't like about Joe Manchin's comments, it was this only one thing. I thought everything else was fine that came out of Joe Manchin's mouth yesterday. When asked what his price point would be for that recon during the Economic Council, he knows he said he'll go to 1.9. He knows he said 1.7. He knows the president's at 2 trillion. What did he say? He said, I like 1.5. I like 7 trillion also, Joe. I mean, I don't like that comment. It was so passing, but people took it to heart. And who took it to heart, sent him Mazie Hirono, Democrat of Hawaii, said, that's major disappointment if he thinks it's 1.5. She says she's not happy for him to say that. She's open-minded about position, but when you draw a red line, you get stuck. She didn't like him mentioning that number again. When we know he's not doing that number, it's going to go to 1.7, it's 1.9. One thing I love about Biden, he holds his ground. He is not moving on 2 trillion. President's holding on 2 trillion. So let's go over where the situation is right now. The situation is right now with a series of programs in, a series of programs out, and then a series of programs in, but with the wrong number or not written right. This is something new you're going to hear on early mornings LA. What's at issue here? Let's step back for a second. That recon was passed in subcommittee of the House 3 weeks ago. And it was totally written. It's a package, but it's written. What's different that has to be rewritten? Well, the numbers. Community college, 5 years, 2 years. That's 10 seconds. That takes 10 seconds to change that. The harder part is the Medicare expansion has to be really gutted and rewritten. And then this revenue side, where even now, no one can even agree upon the revenue side. We have Ron Wyden versus Biden versus Joe Manchin versus Kristen Sinema. Everyone has a different opinion situation. No one can even write at that. So the recon has been agreed upon for programs about 98%, but these last few are the hardest ones before you get to these easy ones like community college. Then on the writing side, we're about 85% written. So let's go over where those provisions are right now. Child care tax credits in there, 1 year, $60,000 or less. 1 year, a child tax credit if you make $60,000 or less. That would be $3,600 or $3,000 a child. Community college, we don't know. It's either out or in 2 years, and I don't think they know. It's just changing by the hour. Pell's Grant, definitely staying in there. Pell's Grant made tax-free and grants the university grants the student. Dental, vision, and hearing. This is a big battleground. They got 3 things to deal with this. First, Medicare expansion. You heard it from Joe Manchin. He wants to do it. Everyone wants to do the expansion of Medicare, but he does not want the citizens of small West Virginia paying for it for all the citizens of the state of Texas. And I think he's right. So where do you write this up? Not very clear. Medicare expansion, dropping the eligibility age from 65 to 55 if you're Bernie or 60 if you're Bob Casey. I don't think that's a difficult one to figure it out. But then the dental, vision, and hearing, it's so darn confusing. I'll explain more about in a second. Paid leave. Nancy Pelosi's baby, she says, I'm fighting to keep it in there. It's not good at the moment. It's not the way it should be, but it's better than nothing. She wanted 12 weeks, everyone, all employees, all self-employed, all gig workers. Not happening. She's getting 4 weeks, low-income employees only, W-2 type people. I think it should be 3 weeks and then broaden it out to also self-employed and gig workers. I mean, if you're self-employed and you make $25,000, you're not going to get this. It doesn't make sense. Then prescription medication shows you how I can't know everything. Prescription medication. Yesterday, this video said it's in there. Good news. Medicare Part B, cheaper prescription medication. I thought that was good. It's not good, apparently, according to Bernie. They got to have across more parts of the landscape of how prescription medication works. You learn something every day. Childcare got in there, reduced. Then clean energy, obviously out. And health insurance. Had a wonderful comment from a viewer on Instagram, private message, say, I lost my insurance. I can't pay for it. Make sure you advocate for this. I am. Shorter programs staying in there. Housing aid, great, it's in there. This is rent, mortgage assistance, utilities, home repairs. It was out. It's back in there. Not at the original $300 billion, but at $175. Great. And then the home health care. Yeah, it was supposed to be $400 billion, then $250 with Bob Casey. It's back in there at $100 to $200 billion. So that is where we start with that. Let's turn to the issue about the dental, vision, and hearing. 3 provisions. Nancy's been great by explaining stuff to the American people. She says the dental is very hard to write. How hard is it to write? Because if you write it today and pass it today, it doesn't become implemented for 5 to 6 years. So she says, how do we do that? Because people need dental care this year, not 5 years from now. She said, the thing is that it takes 5 to 6 years in order to implement the dental. So how do we do it? Shall we say fill in the blank here? I don't know. So let's go over what's going on with this dental, vision, and hearing. They're thinking of shortening the time frame, but it doesn't solve the problem about the dental lapse. Then they're looking at doing a voucher. The voucher, $800 a year. What? That's ridiculous. $800 a year is nothing. Now, I don't know how much the cost of dental is in other parts of the country, but here in Southern California, you're missing a tooth. As Bernie said, they have no teeth. Guess if you want to get a tooth implant, it's not even half a tooth. That's probably $1,000. So $800 is nothing per year for one person. Doesn't make sense. They got to figure this out. As Bernie says, not coming out. The expansion is what Americans people want. Then what else is staying in there or coming out? Obama subsidies staying in there. The SALT cap, removing the cap on state and local tax deduction called SALT is coming out. The president leaving town to do climate overseas. Not a good look. Not a good look. If there was one thing I would do is I would get new staffers to write this legislation better. If Joe Manchin could figure this stuff out and Bernie Sanders, why are the staffers? Are these like Yale graduates? I had to put that in there. Why can't they get this language better? Next, the vote date. The good thing so far, at the moment, is that Gothenheimer, that House member who somehow sort of snakes around, says, call the vote on the roads and bridges. He hasn't started that yet, and no one else has yet. It is, a start of a new day. I'm hoping we get through another day with no one saying, call the vote on the roads and bridges. Now, how about this Virginia and New Jersey equation? What the world was I talking about? I think in one of the videos yesterday, I forgot to mention what it was. There's a new report that says they want to get the recon done, or at least the roads and bridges, before next week, because there's a governor's race election next Tuesday in Virginia and New Jersey. Ridiculousness. Ridiculousness. What does the governor's race have to do with our recon? Why? It has nothing to do with us, because 90% of Americans don't know the recon exists. So it's not like they're going to go to the polls and know this thing exists when they vote on it. It doesn't make any sense. Let's then turn to the student loan debt forgiveness and fifth stimulus, and then I have my commentary for what's going on next. It's a big video, and I know we got a lot in today's video. Student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven. The president has proposed to forgive an additional $10,000. Democrats should take this. What are you doing? You don't have to preclude yourself from taking other money later on, but take this for now. $10,000 across the board. The president forgave three rounds of student loan debts in recent days. First, he forgave student loan debts for people who became disabled after graduation. Then he forgave student loan debts for people who went to work in the private sector, the nonprofit sector, for 10 years after graduation. And finally, he forgave student loan debts for people who went into the public sector for 10 years after graduation. This is city, county, and state, and federal. Definitely needed, because this is absolutely great news. They need to take that last $10,000. Then finally, the COLA raise. Your benefits are going up next year because of a big COLA raise from Social Security, 5 to 6%. But get ready for fifth stimulus, because it's right behind there. One of the top legislators met with Pelosi last week, said, get ready for fifth stimulus. Absolutely. Fifth stimulus would raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security and Rural Benefits right after this one. It would be a second raise. Then they would apply the third raise right behind that, and that is the new benchmark. Inflation next December, not this December, the December after that. And inflation is going to be 1%, 2%, 3%. COLA may be 0. You want that as well. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, remove the marriage penalty, and remove the income cap. Finally, as we go into a new day, here's a little bit of my commentary of the situation and what I think should be done and what I think shouldn't be done. There's a certain parts of the wheel, or the cogs of the wheel at the moment, that is not people not getting along. It's just the wheel is not spinning the right way. And whose fault is it? The staffing in the White House administration, not the president's fault. It's the chief of staff's fault. It is the head of the operations of these departments. What's at issue? We have certain provisions that should have been worked out and written correctly before. And these are provisions that everyone's agreeing upon. So when we look at how to fund the Medicare across all 50 states so that Republican states don't get it for free and Democrat states have to pick up the bill, they got to figure out this language. It shouldn't be left to a 67-year-old senator to realize that a 40-year-old staffer didn't, or 5 40-year-old staffers didn't write it right. This should have been caught by the president, should have been caught by the chief of staff. They should fix it. And as soon as they saw that on Sunday, you would have hoped that by Monday or Tuesday, Joe Manchin would say, yeah, that's what I told the president. And by today, we now know they're working on figuring out a solution. I have no update for you that anyone went back to the drafting table and figured out the language. You can't figure out the language on a provision where everyone agrees upon. Then that is showing that someone's not doing their job right. And it might be the chief of staff not telling those staffers to get the language right. Remember, there's a provision that everyone agrees upon. There's a provision, Medicare expansion, everyone agrees upon, of the Democrats. Someone in the staff is not getting the language right. Is this a reoccurring theme? It is. We had the staffer who wanted to keep that clean energy provision in there. And it was only until the president said, take it out, that we had progress on the recon. We also have a similar theme going on. Nancy Pelosi saying, well, dental does not get implemented for 5 to 6 years if we make it a law today. Did we always know that? Let's assume we always knew that. So when did figuring this out, how to fix it, become an issue? My opinion is they didn't always know this, which they should have, because Pelosi's verb tense says, some people close to it tell me that. It's as though she's not certain about the situation. You're doing a dental provision and then you realize it doesn't work. Well, again, this is writing things up. This is not people negotiating. Third time this happened in the last 24 hours was the bank deposit reporting to IRS. Why does Joe Manchin realize it doesn't work and the President of the United States doesn't realize it doesn't work? But then we have 4 or 5 staffers sitting around having a beautiful breakfast on tax dollars in Delaware who wrote it, who are so proud that they wrote it, and it's absolutely an ineffective body of language. 3 times in 24 hours where we saw 3 things written up for this recon that don't work. Doesn't mean that people don't want it. People want it for you. Yeah, it causes you a lot of questions across the board. Over the last few months, we featured the House Ways and Means Subcommittee that said they're going to insert a stimulus check and write it in there. We've had AOC Omar Pelosi say they were going to write it in as an amendment on the House side. And we have the senators saying they're going to write stuff in on the Senate side. It's like that. When we see people not writing things right, then we say, not only get it in there, but get it in there written the correct way. Today is going to be a big day in which we're going to see where these negotiations go, but we also have to see where the language goes as well. Hopefully this was a very informative video for you. It was very informative for me as I learned that just the fact that the program is in there is not enough. The program has to be written the right way, and it has to be able to be implemented immediately this year or next year. Otherwise, it doesn't work either. And with that, you learn something every day. And coming up next is Overnight's Crypto. Then I'm back with you at 7 a.m. with Morning's Countdown. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. I mean, who the world else is going through all this detail like me? I mean, this is just... How do you apply Medicare expansion and which state and how? Yeah, this is a lot of detail. And yeah, it's great because now we're realizing why certain things haven't happened. Now you see the incredible detail. And then join me on Mornings LA at 9 a.m. live on air. Finally, consider becoming a member. The link is under the video, and get that newsletter tonight at 7 p.m. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful morning, and stay with LA for more.